What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Tennessee Football Talk. I am your host, Joey Peterson, and the Volunteers were very lucky today because they got to be inside beautiful Neyland Stadium. Just look at that sunrise right there. The eighth wonder of the world. The Vols scrimmage today, and we got a lot to talk about on that scrimmage. Up first, Josh Heupel took the podium after practice. He had a lot of things to say about the quarterback battle. Talked Joey Aguilar, George MacIntyre, of course, Jake Merklinger as well. We're going to tell you everything he had to say, as well about Boo Carter. He gives an update on his status with the team and where they are moving forward. And then last but not least, we're going to round this thing out with my additional takeaways. 5 things you need to know about today's scrimmage before you go on with your day. Before that, though, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button because I'm not going to lie. After how badly we beat the Alabama Football Report, I got cocky, and I said, you know what? I'm going to challenge the Ohio State Football Report. I know they knocked us out of the playoff last year, and if you're still upset about that, right now is the perfect time to hit that subscribe button. Let's beat them to 100 subs, okay? Let's prove to everybody that we're the new top dog college football channel right here at Chat Sports. Let's start with what you guys all want to talk about, what you want to know about. Well, we've already talked about a good bit in the last 10 days that this channel has existed. The quarterback battle. That's what everybody's talking about with Tennessee over this last couple of months. Josh Heupel speaks on it after the scrimmage today, saying overall, there's a few things that we could clean up at quarterback, but really on both sides of the football too. Some subtle details, which at this point in training camp, you're constantly growing and pushing to go master the details of the game. And that doesn't just end during training camp. Good teams continue to get better throughout the course of the season. And these guys have had a good mindset, have grown each day, but we got a lot more that we got to get done before we get to kickoff. And guys, we've still got a very, very long way to go. And you're going to hear a lot of things in this episode and in future episodes about some quarterbacks doing very well, some quarterbacks doing very poorly, and we still have 3 weeks to kind of figure this whole thing out. There's going to be lots of ups and lots of downs from here until then. Okay, but from the scrimmage today, based on what we saw on VolQuest, all the On3 guys talking about it, here's some tidbits from each guy. Joey Aguilar looked like the second most accurate quarterback out there. And that's because George MacIntyre, quote, threw it the best. He had himself a day. Now, he was working primarily with the 2s and the 3s, right? So that means he's going up against the second and third best defense. But still, the true freshman out of Nashville looks really, really good. Unfortunately, the redshirt sophomore, Jake Merklinger, he had a rough day. Threw a touchdown pass, looked good on that, a little bit of a wheel route. But other than that, of the 3 guys, Merklinger was easily the worst one, okay? Now let's talk about George. Let's talk about the true freshman, okay? I love the fact that he's out there slinging the pill. This is a guy that I think we all can agree we were really, really excited about when the Vols landed him, when Josh Heupel got him from Nashville to come play after going to Brentwood Academy, 185th national player in the country, 4-star quarterback. He's got everything you want, everything you can't teach in a quarterback, right? He's got the size, 6'5", 195 pounds. But of course, he's a freshman. He's very green. He hasn't played a down of college football. He's only been in Knoxville at this point for what, 6-7 months. So I think a lot of people didn't really expect him to be a guy who could be the starting quarterback going into the season. But from everything we saw today and everything Josh Heupel had to say, George MacIntyre might be making that decision a little bit more difficult. He's had good presence, Josh Heupel says, good control of what we're doing. There's some areas that he's going to have to continue growing, as all of our players have to do at this point. But I really like what I see from what George has done so far. I think that's all you could really want from a guy, like I said, who's been on campus for 7 months at this point. All you could really want is for Coach Heupel to go up there and say, you know what, from what he's been doing, from what I've seen so far, his improvement from the little things we asked him to do, he's looking better. Okay? And if he continues to do that over the next 3 weeks, if he continues to prove to everybody in that coaching staff, look, I've got a legitimate shot to lead this team, to be this team's QB1, it's going to make things interesting, okay? But it all starts with what he does in practice. It all starts with what he does in these scrimmages. So the fact that he's out there, sure, taking advantage of his reps with the 2s and the 3s, but the fact that he's out there making plays, that's only going to be good for George MacIntyre. Now let's talk Joey Aguilar, okay? Coach Heupel said, with what we're doing offensively in our installs, from protections to run games, controlling it, and what he's seen on the other side of the football, how multiple he's been here in the early part of camp, I really like overall what he's done. Still more for him within the structure and the details of it, but I like what he's done. And I still feel like, even though George MacIntyre had a really good day, I feel like Joey has the edge, okay? Let's be real. Like, he's been in this offense for 3.5 months. There's a lot going through his head. There's a lot going through every single one of these guys' heads, but especially a guy who's been in this system for 100 days? Maybe even less than that. Coach Heupel even said it, right? He's got to figure out a lot of things, and he's still got some time to do it. So that's why I believe it's great for him to get these live game-like reps in Neyland Stadium. Sure, nobody's there, but I love that they're trying to make it feel like a real game situation as much as they can. Sure, he's going to make some mistakes, but I think that's just kind of what Joey Aguilar is. He's going to throw a couple picks, but he's also going to make a lot of throws that make you say, wow, okay? At the end of the day, Coach Heupel is going to play who he feels is best, who he feels gives this team the best shot at winning, okay? And I believe because of Joey Aguilar's experience, Joey's going to be that guy. But regardless of who it is, what we can take away from today is it seems like the true freshman can play. And I think that's a good takeaway. What's your take? Speaking of that, how many different QBs will start a game this season? Will it be one guy from game 1 all the way through game 12? Will we see 2, maybe all 3? You let me know in the comment section down below. Let's talk Boo Carter, okay? We all know, we talked about earlier this week, made his way finally back to the practice field after serving what was a de facto suspension. A lot of people kind of talked about and were wondering, was he going to be a part of the scrimmage? Well, he was involved in the scrimmage, and Coach Heupel was asked about him being part of this team again, and he said he has taken those steps. He's continued to grow. I like what he's been able to do here, in particular the last 4 days. What's going to transpire? It's day to day. We're taking it day to day at this point, I guess is the best way to say that. So, what we know from that, he's in the scrimmage. He was there with the team. He's been practicing all week long, and they're going to continue to monitor their situation every single day. This team needs Boo. There's no doubt about it. Okay, that's why I was monitoring this situation so closely at the end of July, because he's going to be such a massive part to this team. Massive part to this defense. A massive part to this secondary. Especially because Jamal McCoy is going to miss the first, 3 months? Now I've got a lot of confidence in Ricky Gibson. I've got a lot of confidence in Colton Hood. You'll actually hear me talk about Colton Hood tomorrow. But Boo Carter has the ability to be the playmaker that this team needs, not only on the defensive side of the football, but also on the offensive side of the football. He might be the most prolific and athletic player on this roster. And so I get everything that's gone down. I love the fact that they're making him earn his way back because he needs to earn his way back. He needs to prove to the guys, hey, look, when it's fourth quarter, I'm someone that you can count on. I'm someone you can look in the eyes when we're down late and say, I'm going to still give you my best. Because everything he was showing in late July and throughout the summer, obviously, he was proving to kind of be the opposite of that. So make him prove his worth. And when he does, and when he's back fully, and when we see him on game days in the fall in Neyland Stadium, I promise you, we're going to be very excited. He's still wearing orange and white. Show your support for Boo, okay? If you're excited for him in 2025, do me one big favor. Like today's video, hit that thumbs up button. All right, we're going to roll through these additional takeaways pretty quickly. Got 5 more things to talk about. Star Thomas apparently looks phenomenal. He looked great. Josh Heupel said he looks night and day different from spring ball to where we are right now in the fall. And I feel like we all know this running back room is going to be running back by committee, right? You're going to see a lot of Deshaun Bishop, see a lot of Peyton Lewis, see a lot of Star Thomas, and I still think this rushing offense is going to be elite. Now, it won't have one elite guy like it did last year. It's not going to be an SEC Player of the Year for any of these guys like it was Dylan Sampson. But still, the fact that Star Thomas, throughout this training camp, has looked so good and in the scrimmage looked the exact same way, I got a feeling he might be running back 1, game 1 against Syracuse. Second thing, a lot of people sideline, okay? And I'm talking a lot of people sideline. Jermon McCoy, obviously, Chris Brazell, Miles Kitzelman, right? There was a ton of people that were kind of watching from a distance as they're going through some things, rehabbing, trying to get back in full swing, 100% healthy. And so it's kind of hard for these coaches to 100% simulate what a game day might feel like, at least the speed of it and the skill of it on the other side of the football. But they're doing what's best. I think at this point, it's just most important as we sit here right now, August 9th, to make sure by the time August 30th comes around, we can have as many guys as we can 100% healthy. Let's talk about the defense. They won the day. Not only did they pick off Joey Aguilar, they picked off Jake Merklinger as well. Multiple interceptions on the day. Ton of different people getting active. They looked like a really, really strong unit. This unit, the entirety of it, I've got a lot of confidence in, okay? I still feel like the defensive line is going to be great. The two linebackers, Jeremiah Telander, Arian Carter, I think those are the two best backers in the country, okay? The best linebacker group in the NCAA. And then, once Jermon McCoy gets back, this safety room, or this defensive back room is going to be something really, really special. So I'd love to see that they're living up to the hype throughout this scrimmage so far. Let's go to the other side of the football. Starting offensive line looked really, really good, which I think is great. I think that was a big question mark because there were question marks in the offensive line last year, and you lost a ton of starts on that unit. You're having to replace a guy like Cooper Mays, who was the bell cow of that offensive line. And they still struggled at times last year. So you have a big, massive question mark. Obviously, you add in the five-star offensive tackle, David Sanders. But still going into the season, I don't think anybody was like, I'm 100% confident. And the guys up front protecting the quarterback, today they looked really, really good. And to round us out, speaking of defense, let's talk about Bryson Eason. He was chosen to represent this team, the Power T, in media days for a reason, okay? Because the coaching staff believes that he's taken that next jump as he's transitioned throughout his entirety of his collegiate career. Well, he was eating the day. He looked really, really good out there. Now, that needs to continue throughout the season. You lost a lot of people on that interior. Amari Thomas, Omar Norman Lott, a lot of really, really good players. Who's going to be that next guy step up? They feel it might be Bryson Eason. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us today. Make sure you got me on Twitter and on Instagram. You can find me on both those social media platforms, same exact handle. Tweet about the Vols every day. Give me a follow there. It's a good time. Over anything, make sure you subscribe to the channel for daily content, 100% free.